I just hit the live button.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows who Alternate is. So
not everybody.
A lot of people.
A lot of people do.
It's got quite a wide. Not everybody, obviously, but it's got quite a wide range of people know the name. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good thing.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's not a good thing.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I just think
every bit of exposure is important.
Any bit of exposure is good, and if you can get a place where you can just pop up your links to go and get your books, no matter where those books are, whether it's on a crowdfunder, whether you're stocking your own books and you're selling them on your website, whether you've got a deal with a publisher and you can send someone to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whatever, brilliant. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's and the fact that he's prepared to do it, put it on his site, I think is a very
making the site and putting it up and having it run smoothly. That's the big that is the big battle.
Yeah, and he's gifting that back out to the comic industry because he loves it so much. Yeah.
Yep.
I wasn't going to call it community then because it isn't. It's a business.
It is.
But it is a business full of lots of people who communicate with each other. If you want to call that a community, fine. You can call it what you like. I don't care.
And
but
it's a site like that. A site like that really has the possibilities of becoming very important and helping to sell a lot of product. So and people need to see this stuff stacked on top of one another, I think, so that they not only can see the sheer volume of it, but the variety of it and the quality of it.
And the quality, I mean, I flipped through because he did the first 50. He launched the other day, and obviously I put mine on there because I thought, well, this is a great idea.
Sure.
And I put mine on there, and he showed it. And then I went and had a look at the website afterwards, and it's like the quality of covers that are on there. It's
just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was talking about standout covers, but they're all great. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you consider how people used to view the indie comics 20 years ago, it was always like, oh, it's amateurs. They don't know what they're doing. They're just putting out little. And to a degree, that was true in some areas because they weren't, mainstream quality.
Well, it's still true.
Covers now, it's still true to a degree, but
to a degree. But we've got print-on-demand publishers now that kick out very professional-looking products.
Exactly. I mean, and you look through all those covers and you think, wow, they could all be on the shelf. They could all be on the shelf, and I could pick up. A lot of those I'd be interested in picking up. So, yeah. Anyway,
like I said, it's a good thing. We can continue talking more about that. Come on in, folks. We see you out there. Come on in. Chat is open. It's 5 a.m. where I'm at. It's 10 a.m. where Russ is at. I think it's 4 a.m. where Whiskey's at. No, it's still 5 a.m. where you're at, isn't it? You're in Toronto.
Am I 5 a.m. is bad enough.
Am I right, Whiskey? 5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
It's early. There's a couple of comic legends here. Let's get weird. Come on into the channel.
There you go. We got some Watchmen to look at, so it's all good. Come on in, folks. We're going to run the opening, and then we will get right to it. Here we are.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with the...
Good morning. We're here with Feewing.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
And it's time to it's time to look at Watchmen.
Release Brian.
Where is Brian? Brian, are you coming?
Brian with Wadwick. Sorry, we've got a lot of problems over. Well, we haven't got a lot of problems over. It's some idiot people have decided that it's not funny. The life of Brian isn't funny anymore. But there you go.
What a great thing though. They who is it? John Cleese.
Yeah,
is running the stage show, and they asked him to change that one skit, and he said no,
and that's right, and for all those people out there who are of that kind of persuasion or are of that view, okay, just lighten up, okay. We all respect you, we all love you as people, but you need to have a sense of humor. We all need a sense of humor. Okay.
Yeah, especially in these times.
Humor brings us all together. Laugh at each other, laugh with each other. Okay, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Chill out. That's what I do.
We yesterday's Nerd Bacon show was fun and heated, but we got to talk about Fund My Comic quite a bit.
I saw that show. I was there. I was in the chat.
And there was some stuff that Luke showed us behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That is oh my goodness, very incredible. There's a couple of books that are coming up on Fund My Comic that are oh man, it's like incredible.
Where that's where I would like us to put Cole.
Yeah.
Because
it's the Shadow Kingdom.
Shadow Kingdom. Sorry, that's where I'd like us to put the Shadow Kingdom. Because damn it, it deserves that deserves all the support it can get. It's
as much exposure as we can get.
Such a wonderful idea. To everybody out there, use Fund My Comic. I don't call for boycotts on anything. Just do what you want to do, but support Fund My Comic. Okay.
So many good comics out there, so available.
And the fact is, it is complete.
Ready to go.
You know, whatever you think about Kickstarter or Indiegogo or whatever, and sorry, green and pink. Okay, whatever you think about green and pink, they may have their reasons for doing the silly stuff that they do. Okay, all right. I like to think of things on an even keel and give benefit of the doubt. But the bottom line is they're restricted. They are restricted by whatever corporate shenanigans go on there. All right, Fund My Comic is not. It's for everybody to say within reason what they like. And when I say within reason, I mean like extremes. Okay. You don't step over the line. And other than that, you can say what you want and have the view that you want and have people fund the book. It's about the market. It's about getting people to support good books.
Stay within the accepted forms of public decency.
That's all there is. Yeah, within
displaying stuff on the site. Yep.
Yeah, much like the way Twitter ended up being a hellhole because people would get upset about hate speech or I don't like what you're saying or that's it. Bottom line is, if it's legal, it's legal, and that's the end of it. And have your opinions and what have you, but make great books and start, like I was saying earlier, chill out. Okay, this is what we're looking at now is a tome. It's beautiful. It's a work of a lifetime. It's deep. It's meta. But you know what? It's enjoyable. It doesn't matter how deep and meta it gets, and in some places it's almost depressive. It's quite harsh, but it's still. You come off the read and you're like, wow, I went on a journey. It's not always, sometimes the journey's dark and sometimes it's light, whimsical. But comics let you have a journey. They let you exit this world and go into the world of the book. Okay, more so than a film, more so than a book. Okay, it's the two things slammed together into an art form. Right, it's the perfect storytelling environment, and it lets you get away and go on a journey. Okay, and I went on a journey with this book, and yes, it was a bit harsh and deep in some places, but you know what? Afterwards, I was uplifted. Because I'd had a journey, I'd had an experience, I'd enjoyed myself. I thought this was a fantastic tale, And then I went off and read about Spider-Man beating up some Dr. Octopus somewhere. Okay, it didn't matter, right? It's the journey. It's the journey.
Went on a journey with this monologue.
That's it. I'm done now. I'm just going to look at the pretty pictures.
We're about to enter some darker corners of the series as we look at Rorschach in the next couple of issues and get a little raw. But I wanted to show the cover, and we are covering this work with the annotated Watchmen annotated.
I'm so glad that we have the annotated version to look through, not just the original, because
there's the work in black and white.
Just so beautiful.
We also have the making of Watching the Watchmen by Dave Gibbons himself, the artist himself, with notes and pre-production drawings, all sorts of stuff. And we have the originals to look at. And I wanted to start with this because you see the black and white version here. It's completely different from the color version. Color
you want to
really
get
pops out that
another
pirate
great
flag.
You want to get another great version as well. you might want to get Watchmen Noir, which has no notes. It's just the art, the pages, but it's in black and white.
Yeah.
And it's slightly oversized, and it's a beautiful book.
And believe me, this stuff is this work is beautiful in black and white.
It is.
Dave Gibbons, written by Alan Moore. Both of them at the top of their game. There we go. Few silent pages here. Everything again on the 9-panel grid. We'll see some variations of that this issue. Quite a bit. There's a great 2-page spread in this issue.
I wonder if those raindrops on that cover, I wonder if he whited those out.
What do you mean?
Well, I wonder if he drew what he was doing, okay, the pavement, right? Mm-hmm. Or inked, should I say, the pavement, right? And the splash, the water, and then drew his round splash marks and the raindrops, and then whited out inside the lines, or whether he drew just the whole thing line by line. I'm always interested in those techniques because
it looks like it's done with a thin rapidograph. Yeah. It's what it looks like.
Yeah, but like for instance, where lines cross over, okay, it's difficult to stop those lines.
Yeah,
and not so. For instance, if you look at some of the round shapes, if you stop one of the round shapes at the sharp line and then carry on, it's easy for those two shapes to become detached and not look like they're actually one thing behind another.
Okay.
So if you draw through the lines and then stroke it off with some white out, it helps to continue shapes. And I'm just not 100% sure either way around. It's just, sorry, I'm just interrogating the page.
Yeah. Well, looking at it in detail, you see some beautiful Mobius-like line work here. Lots of little maggots on the floor. Great detail work on this.
At first, I thought that was like pebbles and stuff, and then I'm like, at first I thought it was maggots, and I'm like, no, that's pebbles, and then I'm like, okay, it's maggots.
Yeah, we see that would have been put in with white out.
It's a box of food.
Those on.
Yeah, probably.
Maggots.
Worked around them somehow. Anyway, and in color, of course, you get the pirate symbol popping through.
Yeah, it pops out. Yeah.
So we get into Tales of the Black Freighter. Comic page here on the side.
You see the reflection of his hat on the top there. Right at the top. No, in the cover.
Oh, here.
Right at the top.
Yeah.
I think that's his hat. Yeah.
Yep. And then we see his foot. Russians invade something. Something.
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan.
Yeah. Because that would have been around that time, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Brought my magnifying glass. Yep.
So that reflective stuff in the water is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple as well. His command of an ink line, pretty good.
Yeah. And again, in the color version, this is 1986 when this was done, so we didn't have modern coloring techniques. Everything's very flat.
It's quite garish,
but that's the way it was meant to be. I don't think it would have worked any other way, honestly.
No, I mean, again, John Higgins is a fantastic artist in his own right.
Oh yeah,
he worked within the boundaries, but I do prefer the whole tome in black and white.
Yeah, I have to agree. Looking at it like this is amazing.
Yeah,
I wonder when they're going to do, because somebody talked about him redoing in Gibbons, or was it Gibbons or Higgins? Higgins redoing the color.
I think he did.
Did he?
I thought he did do that. I know he did it for Batman.
Killing Joke.
Yeah, he did it for that. I thought it had happened, but I can't be sure.
That would almost be a travesty, because there's a specific feel that they achieve here. A look,
exactly. Yeah.
Even the newsprint you can see on the original comic.
I find it like going back to the.
It's yellowed so much. since then, and I've kept these in a nice flat, dry place. So
it's like going back to the the Louvre and picking out some of the paintings and like the Mona Lisa, and saying, well, the Mona Lisa's all right, but that background, let's put a CGI in.
That was all AI anyway.
Yeah, let's put a CGI in and just we'll leave it at that. And it's like, no, the original is what it is. It has historical precedent. Leave it.
When they said Da Vinci was ahead of his time, he was really ahead of his time.
He was, but his he had contemporaries as far as painting.
Pulled out his laptop and just kicked that thing out like nothing.
And I think going back and changing comics so that you can put in some modern techniques I don't like it. It's like, just leave it the way it is. It's a historical document. And the colors themselves, obviously that no one could have known the way things would develop, but the color themselves are almost a meta statement in themselves because they are of the time.
Exactly right. Yep.
So
exactly.
You don't go changing it. Don't go changing. That's what Billy Joel says.
Well, it's like Lucas and going through and changing the first 3 Star Wars movies that he did, and constantly fidgeting with them. It's just not the same.
No, but it's funny how you
stake your mark, the context in the time it was done, and then move on.
Maybe that's age and experience. I don't know, because when they first did that to those first 3 films, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool, because I've been being shallow as far as films are concerned. I like explosions and special effects and stuff like that. So when they did that to those first 3 films, I thought, oh, wow, okay, this could be quite cool. And it's only with experience and age, get off my lawn, that I kind of look back and go, well, no, do you know what? I think I prefer it the way it was.
Yeah.
So just because it is a moment in time, and that's important.
Yeah. So. I have the VHS set of the original theatrical releases. Yeah. With no real. I've got a couple VHS players, but no TV to display them.
I got the DVDs of the set just after they put the extra bits in, so all the other things are intact, like who shot first and all that kind of stuff.
They revised that 4 or 5 times over.
It's
It's constantly shifting.
But I got them some time ago. I won't be getting rid of those, I can tell you.
No.
The Force Awakens was snapped and thrown in the bin once the second film came out. I was so disgusted with it.
Wow.
So, it was like that. As far as I'm concerned, there are only 6 films. Go away.
Just the expression on Mark Hamill's face when he's drinking the green milk says it all.
It's
just everything.
I know. Let's just turn the spaceships around and blow everything up with warp drive. All right, so you could have just done that in episode 4, couldn't you? What was, And I'm not a big canon guy, but seriously, you just completely ruined everything.
They made a bunch of warp mines and just zap them into the middle of all the ships and done.
I remember sitting on the couch with a friend of mine and being like, here, watch this travesty with me. Because
it was just, I went to the cinema to see it because the first one was kind of a retread. Fair enough. It's getting the thing going again, and it wasn't bad. I kind of enjoyed it. People went on about Rey, and it's like, she's okay. Come on, let's see where it goes. I think the who's the black fella? What's his character's name? Finn. That's it. Finn. Boyega is his name, isn't it? Finn. I thought they had the opportunity to make him a fabulous character.
I was expecting that. Yeah,
they completely dumped on him.
They sure did.
And it's like, oh right, this is okay. But the first film, I kind of went, okay, come on, let's see where it goes. And I walked out of the second film, and I turned to my son, and I said, "What have I just watched?" I said, "It sounded like a Star Wars film. It looked like a Star Wars film, but it wasn't. What was that crap?"
Yeah.
And he said the same thing, and he's half my, he's 20, he was 22 at the time, I think. And he's just like, yeah, this is rubbish.
I felt that exact same way after watching Rogue One.
I didn't mind Rogue One. Like I say, my bar is pretty low. I'm pretty shallow. So I was okay with it. But the second Star Wars is like that.
Had some nice points, but they're written by committee thing.
Yeah.
It's just a
and
disaster.
Pretty much from that point I was like, nah. And I didn't even as far as like MCU is concerned, I got to Endgame, and I only last night or the night before last sat down and watched the second Spider-Man movie, which is supposed to cap off the whole run of MCU.
You mean the third one or the
second one?
The second.
I haven't watched the third one yet.
Damn.
The second one is supposed to cap Endgame, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
And I only watched that the other day, and it was okay.
Yeah.
But it had lots of issues as far as whether it was comic correct or not. But that's fine. That's fine. It's okay. It's a presentation. It's the way it is. But I haven't watched anything else other than that after Endgame.
Should watch that third Spider-Man movie.
I will watch that. Yeah. But it's like, because as far as I'm concerned, it ended at Endgame.
Yeah.
They should have just stopped, given it a rest, and then come back.
Yep.
So I was going to say, when we're still talking about Star Wars there, like I did, or as far as the films go, Rogue One, I didn't like it. I disliked it more than I disliked Force Awakening.
Oh, right. Okay.
It had some nice touches and a nice robot, a few good designs, but man,
the first
written by committee was just atrocious. Yeah,
I have to say though, they did fool me, because I watched The Mandalorian because other people were saying this is really good, because I was like, I'm not watching any more Star Wars now. I'm just sticking with what I've got. And I ended up watching the first two series of The Mandalorian, and I was jumping up and down when Luke turned up at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, this is great. Come on, we're back. And it's like, and then it's like, well, it's all just gone back in a sludge, isn't it? It's just crap. So I'm not watching any more Star Wars. I'm done with Star Wars.
Well, there's a couple of episodes of Boba Fett that are nice.
Again, I won't bother watching that.
That's because they had screwed up Boba Fett so badly that halfway through they threw in a couple of episodes of what was supposed to be Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, it was Mandalorian 2.5, they called it, didn't they?
Well, these kind of suck. Let's run these two episodes are open. Boom.
That's the big error with the writers' strike at the moment, is that for the last 10 years you've been writing crap, guys.
Yeah. Well, they're waiting. They only have 4 more weeks to go on the strike before everybody's contract clauses kick in.
Yeah, and then they'll just dump everyone.
There's a specific clause in there, and I can't remember the name of it, but it allows them to dump everything and stop all the productions that they don't want to do.
Force majeure, isn't it?
Yes,
it just
that's
means
it.
they can just go, right, sod it. It's all gone.
Yep, done.
Everyone gets fired. You're all done.
Union. The sound of a lot of closing doors right there. Yep. What union?
Sorry, back to Watchmen. Look at that lighting in the fridge, and just the lighting in general in those last 6 panels. Good Lord.
Yep.
He's got a gun in the fridge.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put your gun somewhere, might as well put it with the the groceries or whatever.
Well, he's got it with him here.
Yeah, no, this is the way he's pointing it in the fridge.
He left his coat there.
I can't imagine pointing my gun in the fridge.
Yeah. Well, the last time the two of them met, he come jumping out of the fridge.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's what it was. He's just being cautious.
Paranoid.
That's why he was expecting it. So
I have to say that scene with him and Rorschach in the film was excellent.
Yeah.
Ooh, his face.
Fearful
again,
symmetry.
The lighting.
Yeah.
Ah, it's sublime.
Yeah. Just fantastic.
Those eyes are great. They're just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yep. Marv says good morning. He's at work. Marv, have a great day.
Hey Marv, have a good one.
We're at work right now.
Yeah, this is my job. This is my job. I'm not getting paid for it, but it's my job.
Yeah. Beautiful lighting here. Just well done. Sticks him back in the fridge. It's going to shut him in. Says back when putting somebody in a refrigerator would really be a scary thing to do because they wouldn't be able to get out.
Yeah, even if they'd been thrown several miles by a nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah.
Crystal skull my butt. Yeah.
Again, I didn't mind it that much. I mean, I'm very shallow, like I say.
Well, yeah, it's a pulp character too, so you can kind of skate by on that. So.
I won't be watching the 5th one.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it.
I don't think I can. I don't like that woman anyway, Waller-Bridge. I don't rate her at all.
I will tell you, I sat and watched Quantum Mania, the Ant-Man movie.
Oh yeah,
I saw that a couple days ago, and I'm still reeling from the way that they treated MODOK.
I know. They treat him like he's just a joke.
Just terrible, atrocious.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there looking at the wife, going, they could have designed any other character and called it anything else, but no. They have to make it. It
shows a complete misunderstanding of the core material. Oh, MODOK's just a big head with some hands on it. Let's just make a laugh out of it.
That's the whole thing, though, is that they were going around boasting that they're hiring writers now that have never read the books. We don't want them to be familiar with the material so that we get something fresh. It's like, no, that's not what you want. That's not where your money sits. That's not why Endgame made $1 billion.
No, I mean, like I was saying earlier, you know, that all the whole of the MCU, from the first Hulk and Iron Man films right the way through to Endgame and that last Spider-Man movie, they're all a representation. Okay, they're all an adaptation for the movies, in the same way that Graham Nolan's
for the comics, you mean?
The same way that Nolan's Batman. Okay, those 3 films, that wasn't really Batman from the comics, but it had the essence of Batman, and it worked really well for the cinema. Okay, and that's the point, and that's what they did with the MCU. They did it absolutely brilliantly, apart from a couple of left turns here and there. Most of the time, it was fantastic, and it's because they had the essence of the comics in there, and they even had a few nods to real storylines and stuff like that. Okay. So it didn't matter. I mean, it would have been nice to have had Adam Warlock in that, but it didn't matter. They pulled it off well. Okay. They did okay. All right. But then when you literally walk away from the source material and just kind of go, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's only comics anyway. Let's just use the characters, do what we like. It's like, that's when it falls apart. And it doesn't matter whether you're a fan or a normie, horrible expression, but that's the way it works. People who kind of know something about comics and people who are just there for the popcorn and the fun. Okay. If you're not providing good stories, which is where all this came from in the first place, quality, great stories from the comics, then you're screwed. People just don't want to know.
Yep. Another great lighting panel here.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Can we take a look for the previous page there? Can we take a look at the colored version? Because I was looking at some of the panels towards the end there. And again, you got that on the second page, you got the starting panel and the end panel very much tied together.
Yeah.
And redrawn as well. Yeah, slightly different for sure.
Very much pastel work on that panel. That could have been super garish and almost like a fluorescent black light painting. Everything here is subdued. Lots of orange, touch of green, teal, browns, earth tones. Skip the page here. There we are. So we start talking about Tales of the Black Freighter, which is a comic there because they don't have superhero comics on this world. They do have comics that have pirates. So he starts juxtaposing the situation with a story, a really raw, violent story from the Tales of the Black Freighter. You didn't get to see that. Didn't get to see that in the movie because they didn't have the time to put it in.
I'm just fascinated with his choice of line work and spotting the blacks.
Yeah,
I mean, because he could have used more line work in the water, but chose to go with that black spot. All those black spots, and it's like
solids.
It's brilliant. Yeah, the solids, just fantastic.
Yep. And again, the color on that really takes all that water and unifies it. Almost drops it back.
The eating people.
I mean,
desperate measures for desperate times. Yeah.
For the time, the color is just that. It's not bad. I mean, it's not great to compare to today's standards, but it's pretty nice.
I don't know. I think it comes down to taste, because I think some comics are overcolored now. It's like, it's that same old thing. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do it. And I think sometimes there's just too much. I mean, there's a purity about this. As much as I prefer the black and white, the color is still glorious, and there's something sort of the Bronze Age about it. But the techniques are better now, and it's just a perfect marriage of simple colors done really, really well.
And so it's not the tools so much as the experience of the person using them. Because here you've got masterful work by everybody involved, and there's so much Photoshop color out there now that I think I agree with you. It's just garish and unnecessary.
So what makes a good colorist, if we're talking about that? Since I'm looking for a colorist now, what obviously, if it looks good, but is it the same kind of thing as that quote where, like, the more you take care by Anthony St. Hawkesbury, designer knows, I can't remember, I have to pull it up, but like simplicity is the better part of valor. Right? Less is more.
Less is more.
Knowing how to use your tools.
Color theory, as in knowing what colors to use in the right way. To create mood. If you can't find a colorist who's an artist as well, so that when they color people, they know how the anatomy works. I've seen multiple colorists on work that I've done as well that put in shade or put in color highlights or whatever, and it's quite obvious they don't know how anatomy works. So that would be good. That would be a bonus, a real bonus. But it's just by looking at their older work and seeing if you like it or not. Because just because I like a simpler color process doesn't mean everybody does. Lots of people like intense color processes, lots of flashy effects and all the rest of it. You find what you like, and if that works, then that's the person for you.
Yeah, color theory is an interesting thing, because like I work with like I said, work with miniatures and 3D and stuff like that, and a lot of the color, like when you're painting miniatures for like showcasing or like tournaments or whatever the people use them in, they do the miniature people, or the I guess the community in that area have a really advanced understanding of color theory and stuff like that, because they have to. Well, the whole idea is you paint your miniatures, and they're doing everything in a 3D, like a 3D way, because it's not just a flat page. So they have to like mimic like light sources and things like that, and it's pretty advanced stuff. So if you ever looking at how people do color, you should check out miniatures, and look in that community. And some of those guys are just throwing it down like you wouldn't believe.
Wow. Well, I've got a sample here of Batman, and this. So a guy called Jimmy Color. Jimmy does color. He did the color for this. It's really nice, very modern colors, very nicely done. Okay, but I had to color the rest of the book, and I did mine in a painted kind of fashion. Completely different feel. Yeah. So it depends. It all depends on the artist. It all depends on your approach. I was after somewhere between Batman the Animated Series and kind of like a sort of a painted kind of feel. That was the kind of effect I was after. I feel like I got it. I feel like I got what I wanted out of it.
Right.
but what you have to do is you just have to find the artist. So for instance, mine is more sort of a painted pastel kind of feel, whereas Jimmy's was that it's got that modern sort of like I can't remember the term for it, but it's like where you create a shape and you put a grad into it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he did that. So both of them are valid. Both all of them are valid as long as they work. I would say the advantage I had in colouring my own work is that because I obviously am reasonably au fait with anatomy, is that I understood what I was doing as far as shading anatomy was concerned. Mm-hmm. So just different approaches.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of that. We're talking a little bit a while about programs for getting into art, and we're talking about the Corel programs. And I remembered what the program was called. It wasn't Corel Paint; it was called Corel Painterly, right?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So it's slightly different. I recommend checking it out. I have a copy on one of my computers, but I can't afford another copy. It's like $400. But the stroke, like the way it does painting and stuff like that, it looks like it's just a little bit superior, I think, to Clip Studio's like brushes on the painting side.
Yeah. Yeah, I had an old version of something. I'm trying to remember what it was. Probably lost it now.
Sometimes that older software is more competent than the modern stuff that they kick out. So.
Oh yeah, I had Painter. I've still got the install for it. Coral Painter 11, and that was quite fun to play with. Yeah. I just haven't had enough time to play with color, to be honest. I've been so intent on penciling and inking and forcing my way that I haven't really played that color stuff I did for Batman. The last 2 issues of Batman I did. Yeah. That was great fun because it was an exploration at the same time as being paid to test out a way of coloring, which was great.
Right. I think we have an image here with the Painterly that I painted in the Painterly program a long time ago. I'm going to look for it. You guys could continue. Okay.
Yeah. Right, Nick, let's go next page. Look at. I
use old software on purpose because I'm used to using it and I can hit deadlines with it. So
before we go, look at the way he's pulling that body out of the water there, and the posture. Yeah. You can feel the weight of the body as he's pulling it back. It's fantastic.
Yeah, posturing is extremely important to understand where the weight of the gravity and how this all moves together.
Yeah,
it's something that you can't neglect in what I do.
No, because then it looks awkward. That's the whole point of why animation came up with motion capture, because it's so difficult to animate a 3D person or 3D figure and make it look so that it doesn't jar the eye and the mind of the viewer. So, but they were doing that with what's that? Is it rotoscope where they trace over?
Yeah, rotoscope was the old school.
They were having the same issue with flat 2D animation, slightly different because it's such a laborious task. But then they started using the rotoscope, and so they got those naturalistic kind of movement. The first time I recognized rotoscope was the Lord of the Rings animated.
Bakshi?
Yeah, but is it
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. Well, who's that? Dino De Laurentiis? Was that? Did he do that?
No, Ralph Bakshi did that
Ralph
for
Bakshi. Okay.
Rankin Bass.
Right.
Did that. Yeah, he had before that he had done a movie that had a combination. It had a little bit of rotoscoping in it, a little bit of film treatment in it called Wizards.
Oh, Wizards! Yeah.
Did a fantasy story based off of Vaughn Baudet's, a lot of Vaughn Baudet design characters.
Is that the one where the other wizard shoots the wizard at the end?
I believe he pulls a gun out of his sleeve. Yeah.
So cool.
But
it's got peace in it. That's actually Cobalt 90.
That's
Red Warrior riding the ostrich on the
that's the image with the funny guy on the ostrich kind of creature. I mean that that is indelibly sort of marked into my brain as a child, seeing that image. It's just a fabulous image.
Well, as an impressionable teen, the thing that really impressed me was the way he had the little girl running.
Right.
I mean, the bouncy little girl was really bouncy. Whenever the little fairy would go along, and it's like,
Yeah,
anyway.
amazing.
Yeah, that wasn't rotoscoped, but it was
really, that wasn't.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Well, it was very cartoony.
Well, I mean, that's the whole
the lead
thing
character, Avatar, I think he was called, was almost like George Burns' pattern wizard type character.
I don't. I mean, I'm probably speaking out of turn because I don't have enough experience in this. But it seems to me that because you act while you're animating, when you're doing key frames, and you act through it, and as a sequential artist, we all act through our work.
I was going to say, we do that doing this, if not physically, then mentally. Yeah,
mentally. We're always making those shapes of the body, whether it's real or whether it's in our mind, whether you take a photograph, whether you look in the mirror, whatever it might be, you're always acting. My wife comes in and says, "Why are you gritting your teeth?" And it's like, "Oh, sorry." It's an action scene. You know, it's like you do that. And I sometimes wonder if the leap to 3D animation sometimes, not all, because if you look at something like, I know, the Toy Story series, they're beautiful, and the way that the characterization comes through, but sometimes it can like kind of make a divorce between that acting and the production. Just a thought. Like I say, I haven't got enough experience to say yes or no.
Well, they're doing a lot of new stuff with animation nowadays. They're bringing back like being able to the heck's it called? Rig. Yeah, they're being able to rig in real time, where you can literally just stand in front of a camera, and then the camera does the movement for you and lines up with the rigging and stuff like that. So like you can dance around in your apartment, and then the model just does what you're doing to perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something lost there.
No, I don't know. Well, I've seen it's pretty good.
Yeah,
stuff.
But no, what I mean is, it's like, okay, I go and dance over there, and the camera follows me and makes a 3D model dance in exactly the same way. Well, anyone can do that. Can anyone sit down and do a keyframe for an animation of 2D? Only those people that can do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I don't want to blow anything apart or be, like, things move on. But for instance, the whole reason why I'm going back to traditional work is because I feel a connection to the work so much more than I did while I was doing it digitally. And again, digital work, I don't have any problems with it because I've done so much of it myself. I appreciate, it is just a tool, but the idea of having that physical piece of work once you finish doing it, the interaction between myself and the paper, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old.
No, you're right. there is something to said about physicality, because like we're talking, like if we look in this panel here, or the page here, the 2 pages, we look at the cloth, for example. And I've talked about this at length about 3D and how a lot of 3D artists just are absolute crap at doing cloth, even some of the industry leaders. But if you add physics modeling into it, it fixes the problem, because the computer can somehow simulate the particles better than the human eye. There's just one or two parts removed, whereas a traditional sculptor, they can run their hands across the seam and figure out how thick it is and the depth of it, right? And then they go ahead and do like these amazing old stone sculptures where like the cloth looks like realistic. But if a standard 3D modeler did it without the physical or the physics stuff, it would look kind of meh, right?
In
comparison. So physicality is like being able to touch something, and there's a lot to it.
And represent it in your work as well. I mean, like I was saying about all this is all, however accurate this may look, okay, it is interpretation. It's
all comics are, though.
Really. It's not immensely accurate. It's what's the word for it?
And I think the more individually interpretive, the better. I mean, these guys in the Silver and Bronze Age had a lot of them had such a distinctive style to their work, and yet they were banging this stuff out on deadline. It's just amazing, frighteningly amazing.
This is Monet and Manet. This is what this is. It's just different degrees of detail. That's all it is. And and that I feel is that's why, you know, somebody can, like you're talking about fabric and the amount of effort goes into it digitally to make it work, and yet a few lines on an inked page can give you the feel of a curtain or the creases in someone's sleeve.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, that's an amazing thing.
You can't get
the notes here on the side make mention of the silhouette here and how much more romantic the silhouette is. Also a returning theme that happens over and over again, especially with the ending.
Go on.
Go ahead.
Can we take a look at the color version of this page? I'm just curious again.
Yeah,
something
a little brighter than what it was. I mean, there's the color sense, especially on the outside scenes here, are a lot more brighter, I think. Well, we're not dealing with Rorschach at the moment, so
no.
And then that panel, I think, is amazing, especially Dan's look, the turning of the head and expression on his face. Yeah,
special.
It's just incredibly done. Yeah.
Just in awe sometimes. You just look at it and you have nothing to say.
Yep. First thing I think of when I see this, it's a little dialogue heavy, but they're moving, you know, the story along.
Yeah.
A little more Tales of the Black Freighter, a little more movement on the story itself. Now we're going to switch over to Ozymandias here. And the coloring scheme brightens up again. You see. It's like as if they want you to have the impression that it's all normal. And then we have this. 2 pages. You still have your 9-panel grid working, your 3-tier, but the middle 2 pages, or the middle 2 panels here are
one panel
interconnecting one panel.
Yeah, that's just brilliant. Just
amazingly done. Yeah,
jumps out, doesn't it?
And a little bit of the ultra violence there. Let's grab a cigarette ashtray and just smack the guy across the face.
There you go.
That was really well done in the film as well.
It reminds me of this. I was looking at this Scottish a long time ago. I got the story about this Scottish. I guess what do you call it, like an ethnic store? Like it was in my old hometown, and it was just all the Scottish memorabilia and, like, you know, kilts and bagpipes and, you know, swords and stuff like that. And there's this claymore sitting on the back wall. I'm like, is that? I asked the guy, and he's got this old Scottish accent. Don't ask me to mimic a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
But and he's like, I'm like, is that battle ready? Like, has it got like a full the heck's the term? I can't remember off the top of my head. I know what it is, but it's got a full, like, whatever thing to it, right? So is it battle ready? And he's like, he picks up a mug and he's like, when you're talking about battle ready things, like, you know, a lot of stuff is battle ready.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's got this, like, and he's like the old Scottish guy. He's got, you know, jowls, and it's just, you can kind of tell that he himself has been in a couple scrapes, you know. This is a beautiful memory. If I could,
he probably frequents a pub on a regular basis.
Yeah.
What are you saying about Scottish people, eh?
Just that they enjoy themselves really well.
Yeah. They know how to. Yes. They like a deep fried Mars bar on occasion.
Yeah, they like a good pint as well as the next person too.
Oh yeah. Oh, we drown.
Again, just amazingly done. The entire sequence here is just crazy good. You can stare at that for hours. We can do a whole show on this. just this 2-page spread, real easy. A lot of dynamics, a lot of movement. Moves the story along. Takes care of business. And yet old Ozzy's in purple here.
Mm.
The purple jacket.
Yeah, it made it lighter in the center panel.
The nice little V to unify things, bring it down. It's great composition. A lot of thought there.
Yeah, a lot of thought went
A
on.
lot of skill. Yeah. Exactly. Then almost as a reflection of the Black Freighter. It's tight on the face with the violence and a little bit of gore.
And they went straight back to the Black Freighter.
Yeah. Yep, and they do go right back to the Black Freighter.
Again, those eyes are just well done.
And in color, it's particularly bloody. That we don't get that impression much here. It really pops out in the color.
Yeah, that came out well too.
That's Higgins, you know.
Like, I mean, obviously the colors weren't as good. We talked about that earlier, but like, it's damn impressive work for the time with the limited color palette.
Yeah. But that's what makes the art, though, out of all of this is using the tools that are available to the best of your ability. You know, you could have gotten all fancy and gotten a little bit more graduated tone or shown some shadows here or whatever. But no, flat, get the job done, show the real shadow work is here where the horror is, you know, driving that point home.
I think the other thing is you can lose the ink work, you can lose the line work if you're not careful.
Well, yeah,
I saw the Star Wars stuff being recolored, and that looked hideous. I thought it looked hideous.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's all very, like we're saying, it's all very well having those abilities. It doesn't mean you have to use them. And there are some great comics out there that have been colored within an inch of their life that look fabulous, look absolutely gorgeous. Okay, but when you've got line work like this, you want to treat it with a bit of respect. And I think even if John Higgins were to recolor it, he'd treat it with the respect that it was due. He'd just use new tools, maybe some more grads and stuff, but it would still he'd still do a fantastic job on it. Yeah. And the fact that we're you know, sort of cooing over the black and white rather than the color, that's a personal preference. There'll be some people that say, oh no, I much prefer it in the color version. So, you know, that's all just personal preferences. As an artist, as someone who draws in black and white before it goes off to the color process, I personally really appreciate this.
Well, the majority of my work's been in black and white. There's I mean, it's more colorized now, but that's because the coloring is easier to do. But,
well, yeah, that's right.
And easier to print than what it was back in during this time, because you did have the limited tools that you had to work with, and you had to know how to do separations. And there was a lot of independent companies like Malibu and Now that came up with their own coloring systems. I mean, I don't think Photoshop was really used a whole lot until Malibu came through and showed people what could happen.
It's so much easier now anyway. I mean, you know, what we're talking about is potentially black and white with a brush wash on it.
Yeah.
And then just laying flat colors over the top of it in Photoshop or whatever we use.
Yep. But like we've said before, though,
process. So
like we've said before, though, there's a lot of charm to those old 70s and 80s underground comics with with their own line shading and the use of black and white and zip screens and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of charm to that era.
I found an image with that Painterly program in one of my old sketches. Is it okay if I
pop it up?
Okay, let me start the virtual camera here and then set it up in Studio.
All right.
And then start cam. There we go.
Oh, okay. I see what you did.
So, I mean, it's not a great piece. There you go.
No, but that could be on heavy metal real easy.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So that's just that was just with my limited skills for using the
that's a great piece.
It's a bit of a Star Wars kind of play there too.
Yeah.
But you can see the brush strokes and stuff are actually, if they're paint really good. And they do have a modern, like you can get it the updated version today, but the strokes and stuff are like it's quite a little bit unlike any other program I've seen.
I like the orange in that, and to me it looks like more of a European heavy metal type feel to it, to the way that you colored it, to the piece in general. That's my impression of it. Could be a cover for Metal Hurlant very easily.
There you go. Talents I didn't know I had. I actually thought about that recently, maybe doing today again, I thought about it again, but doing color or work for somebody to see if I could pull it off.
I don't know, you have to play. While you're working. It's kind of a delicate balance. Don't just do stuff for yourself, but yeah, if you can get a gig where you can play around with it, like what Russ was talking about with him coloring that Batman piece.
Mm-hmm.
Learn by doing. That's 3/4 of comics and sequential art in general. It's part of why I love the art form. I mean, you grab a new tool and you just start playing with it, and then once you see it come out in print, you know how successful you were with it. You always go back and look. I always go back and look at my stuff 6 months to a year or two later, just to analyze it and take a look at what worked and what didn't work. Always learning, always trying to get better.
Should get some something to color then. See how that goes.
Yeah. And again, great feathering here on the hair. Just beautiful work. Shade work. I think Russ is away from his station for a moment.
Is your priest?
But sorry, I'm back in the room.
Not a problem. We just turned the page. We were talking about the hair.
Look at lovely hair. Look at that.
Yep. Beautiful feathering, I would say, by brush. Definitely.
That'd be brush. Yeah.
Murphy Anderson and Alex Raymond in there. Yeah.
I've kind of relaxed into knowing kind of what I need for the effects that I need.
Right.
So, for instance, in Only Death Can Save Us, I used brush pens exclusively, and they were quite big ones because I wanted that big, bold sort of Bronze Age slap it on look. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted that feel. I wanted it, and I scratched that itch, good and proper. And then the stuff that I did with Batman was like there was far more pen work in it.
Mm-hmm.
But now, especially with the stuff I'm doing now with Cull and the Doctor Who I've just done, I've got to a point where I'm using my brush pens for hair, sometimes for fabric, and maybe on the occasion the right outline. Okay, then I'm working with Tombow pens and now dip pens to get the kind of lines that I want inside the fabric, inside the physical items that I'm drawing. And so it's kind of getting yourself to a point where you know which tools do which bits best. And it's only after like practice on practice on practice that you get anywhere close to that. The other thing that's mind numbing as an artist is when you're affected by so many different artists, and it's easy to become the squirrel or whatever and say, oh, that's nice, I'll use that. Shiny.
Yeah.
Nuts. Love it. So you've got to check yourself and say, no, look, some of these things are useful, some of them aren't, but you're never going to draw like the people that have inspired you, or you're never going to be a duplicate. There's obviously there are
representational artists.
Yeah, there are exceptions to the rule. Like the guy that's drawing Conan at the moment for Titan looks exactly like Buscema, And as much as that is admirable, and as much as, you know, I'd die to be able to draw like Buscema, at the same time, you've got to be you.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, and I want people to look at it and go, that's such and such. I mean, later on, people could confuse some of those images for Buscema images. They're that close, and it's admirable. It's beautiful stuff. I'm sure I will be buying it. But for me personally, I'd want to. These artists inspire you, and they give you techniques via looking at their work that you can nick, okay, and you can use. But try and be you. And it is difficult because you look at something like this, which is so bloody good, and you think, oh, maybe my lines should be sharper. Maybe I should be more, you know, this or that. And it's like, no, relax. Just look at it and see what's great about it and suck it up.
I remember a long time ago, I was talking to somebody that knew Gordon Lightfoot, and they were saying that he didn't listen to anybody else's music, or made it a point to like just do his own thing, not listen to their music, and just produce what he wanted to produce so he could have his own kind of thing. And it's kind of admirable in a way. Because it did end up obviously really well. Like he did a really good job, but he wasn't influenced by a lot of other people. So, you know, carving your own path is, there's something to be said about it.
Oh, without doubt. I mean, I wish I could. The trouble with comics is that it's a love. I think everybody who creates comics, anybody who creates comics because they love them is because they've read them, is because they've enjoyed the medium, and it makes it difficult for you not to be affected. And of course, because there's certain standards that you must adhere to, you kind of have to look around and see what else is out there. But I do understand exactly that point of being able to say, no, I'm blocking everything else out, and I'm just focusing on what I do. And you can come up with something that's unique and that other people haven't seen. But I think in the comic book industry, that's a hard thing to do, a very hard thing to do. And like you say, admirable.
Before we turn the page, I want to point out the sequence here, not because of the beautiful technique used in the hair, but the emotion that it drives out. Very simple, very pointed, and very emotional with his frustration as he sets himself up for bed.
It's a writer and artist in harmony there.
Yeah. That brings out that mood.
Lovely in the mirror as well.
What's a great sequence here.
What's that like on the color? How did they handle the mirror there?
They dropped her front image back a little bit.
You see,
using slightly darker tones.
Techniques were different back then. Tools were different back then. Even the simple stuff that I was doing for Only Death Can Save Us, the simple coloring. Now, I would have knocked that mirror back slightly, but they have all the blacks are black. Okay, everything is there, and Higgins has fantastically knocked that back just with color and a color palette for the stuff that's just in the mirror.
Yep,
it's excellent, really good. Like I would have say a panel of color over the whole mirror, including the inks, and just knock it right back so that you could see there was a difference between the ink on the real world and the ink in the mirror world. But no, he's done that with color. Fabulous.
Nowadays in Photoshop, you just grab all of the black here and leave the border and knock the black in the mirror up to like an 80% gray.
Yeah,
that would drop that back real well.
Yeah.
And again, him reaching out the other side of the bed, held in damnation at the end. Just and here he's overweight, he's out of shape, but he's still got great muscle definition there in the shoulders.
Because he was a superhero.
He was a superhero. Yeah. He's just a little out of practice.
Back out of shape compared to superheroes, I guess.
Yeah, out of shape compared to superheroes. almost a fit domestic shape, a little beer belly.
I find that again, and these things coming in ebbs and flows. They come in waves, and I personally was affected by some of this as well. Is that sometimes superheroes can be too muscly.
Yeah.
If you're looking at just something like Slain or whatever, or the stuff that who did Slain really well, the painter guy,
Bisley.
Bisley, and the ink work that he did on ABC Warriors, and it's totally over the top, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. I still do love it. I think he's a fabulous artist, but it wasn't just the muscles; that was part of his style. It all kind of came from one place. Whereas sometimes I think some of the superhero comics can be just a little bit over muscular, over defined, and there's something about that Bronze Age stuff, especially that like Buscema and what have you, that it was kind of like these guys were obviously fit and muscular. It's the difference between Johnny Weissmuller and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I suppose. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger and the kind of muscle stuff that goes on now.
Yeah.
Reminds me a bit of the Unbreakable movie, the start of that movie.
Yeah.
Where he's talking about the pencil work versus the inker and the over exaggeration of the ink.
Yeah.
To make things look a little more.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen that movie, right?
No.
Yeah, well, I have, but yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I watched it once, and Shyamalan is kind of a one-time hit for me. Unless it's really good. I think I've seen The Village twice because I was impressed with it. Sixth Sense, I think I've watched a couple times, but the hit superhero stuff I'm not crazy about.
I see dead people, you know that.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and like loads of people going up to me going, "Oh, I didn't know that was like." And it's like I worked that out in the first 10 minutes. Come on,
solid genius, amazing, yeah, yep.
Good Lord.
Well, The Village was cool too because you thought you were watching a period piece.
Right, I haven't seen that film.
Oh, you'd have to watch it. I just spoiled it for you, but
I don't care. People tell me the end of films all the time.
Stuff. When you spoil the ending, you've pretty much spoiled the movie.
You know what I'm like. I keep saying I'm shallow as far as films are concerned.
Yeah.
Cool. I just enjoy the spectacle, and
there you go.
And so if somebody says to me, "Oh, do you mind if I tell you the end?" It's like, no, tell me, because then I'll know if I want to see the film or not.
Unless it's garishly cartoony, like MODOK and Quantum.
Yeah, exactly. The upside of these awful trailers they have these days, which are like 5 minutes long and pretty much tell you the whole film, is that you can work out whether you want to bother watching it or not from the trailer.
True.
Here's a question: What exactly quantifies as or qualifies as garishly cartoony? Like
when it's so see, garishly cartoony can be great if your entire product is garishly cartoony. That's fantastic. But when you're trying to do a serious piece and up pops this stupid cartoony face, where MODOK to me was a super scientist Frankenstein monster combination that was just solid evil, just personification of
and they went campy instead of
and here serious. They use him as like a campy face, goofy, almost humor relief at times.
They just use it as a joke, don't they? That's the trouble, is that because you don't, like we were saying earlier, you don't have to follow the canon and the explicitly the stories. You just have to give it the right nod. You just have to go in that direction. And if you take the piss out of things that aren't supposed to have the piss taken out of them, you're going to get it wrong badly.
And I'm sure they ended up there because they saw the character design and they thought it was funny.
Yeah.
You know, where Kirby at the time was really stretching dynamics in design. I mean, he's got a character in Captain America that has a face where his stomach's supposed to be.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just an amazing, weird, bizarre design work. And it's not, in my opinion, they really took that whole feel and the whole look of that character and just ridiculed it. Like almost like somebody talking down that comics or kiddie literature don't deserve to be taken remotely seriously. It's the exact same, and I was heavily insulted by that character in that film.
It just shows
before that,
disdain for the
they
genre.
already had a cartoon by on Hulu with Patton Oswalt voicing.
That's right,
MODOK, and they had already treated him like stupid comedy.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about Space Ghost Coast to Coast when it first started up too. How dare they take this superhero character and turn him into an MC? But you have to look at it as two different
approaches. There was still respect there.
Yeah,
it was still a character, and it's still they were just taking it slightly off to one side.
Almost like the difference between Christian Bale Batman and Adam West Batman.
Exactly. Yeah, I see it as those kind of differences. Yeah. Whereas doing what they did to MODOK was not. They just destroyed it.
In the midst of that film, it was insulting.
Yeah, so it's like it's a joke in a MODOK skin suit.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But that's the trouble.
They could have designed something and used this exact same idea. Made it look almost the same way as it did now, but not use MODOK. MODOK should have. It wasn't a character in the quantum universe anyway. He was actually the leader of the evil scientist group called AIM. Yeah.
Who
advanced idea mechanics? Yeah.
Those costumes, the yellow costumes. Just like they were brilliant.
Radiation suits, just simple radiation suits, but they hid what everybody looked like.
Because there was that thing, there was that story. Was it with Captain America and Nick Fury where it was like a big AIM story?
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. Yeah, and that was just, I can't remember where I got that.
There were a couple of those.
And brilliant.
MODOK was there, running everything, and he was the horrific evil in those stories instead of the stupid humor relief. Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean that's just
just stop. Yeah,
just stop it, please. Stop it now.
Back to Watchmen. Pirates and newsstand agents. Yeah.
And, can we take a look at the color page on this one as well?
It's just on the back of a shark.
I know.
Beating off that's
it's something more for him to eat. Anyway,
fighting off a shark. Yeah. He's fighting off a shark. And it's just interesting to see him use this pirate comic, juxtaposed against the what was happening in the story. Just almost like driving the points home to an exaggerated degree in the other direction than what we saw them do with MODOK. I mean, things here are violent and raw and horrific, almost to an exaggerated extent when they're doing the Tales from the Black Freighter compared to what's happening in real life. I mean, what's happening in the story.
It's a really interesting vehicle to push the story along. Not push, but like complement the story. There's nothing really forced about it. It's just.
Well, it adds a dimension, especially with the guy being in such a desperate situation here with the shark.
Are those three panels with Rorschach stepping through the water? Are they duplicates? Top three? Are they the same as the first page?
I'm not sure. Let me take a look. They do look pretty close to it.
And I'd say they're close, but they're definitely redrawn on each panel.
I don't know.
What I mean is that exact set of panels was used in page one.
Here's the first
I don't
page.
know if he's laid those panels down again.
It looks amazingly similar.
It does look similar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it isn't. At the very least, the raindrops are different.
Yeah, there's some slight differences for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
I bet. Okay. And the paper as well. No, that's redrawn.
Yeah, well, he could have brought out the light box or whatever you call it.
Yeah, but he's used the light box, but they are different and I suppose there's an attention to detail there because it's a different time why would there be a newspaper in exactly the same place like several days later when he goes back to interrogate him again?
Yeah.
Unless he didn't use the light box and he's just that good. Wouldn't that just kick you in the teeth?
Like, no, I think
no. They are different. They are different.
They are different.
Different angle.
But he's definitely used the light box because the feet are in exactly the same position.
Yep.
He's just, wow.
So for those of us who grew up
bottom
in an age
detail
where,
here is different.
What exactly is a light box? If you can,
it's literally a big sort of. Well, it can be any size. Okay, and it looks a bit like a flat monitor, but all it is just a light. So it's just a backlight. All right, with that you put on your desk or whatever, and you put a piece of paper over the top, and it means you can put another piece of paper over the top, and it means you can trace easily.
I remember when I was a kid, I just used a coffee table and a desk lamp.
Or the window,
Or the window, yes. It's the equivalent of a window, sticking it up against a window. So you don't have to use tracing paper. You can use the actual paper you'd use to pencil on, and you can lay it over another image and be able to trace that image.
But I assume they have professional versions of...
Oh, yeah? I've got one.
Oh, yeah. They sell professional versions of light. Or you can have somebody, the one that I have was built by a buddy of mine like 50 years ago. That's set up with a wood box with a fluorescent light underneath, shining up on opaque glass.
I had an old tin one with a plastic perspex over the top of it.
Yeah.
You can have a look at mine if you like.
Hang on, I'm blowing you up. Boom. There you go.
It definitely beats the coffee table.
Yeah. And it's that thin. This one's really thin.
That's cool.
So,
mine's a lot thicker than that because it's got a fluorescent bulb.
Yeah, I had one like that.
Tube bulb in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had one like that for the longest time because I used to use it for drawing layouts for retail brochures.
Yeah.
So you'd have, specifically, funnily enough, for doing jewelry pages, because the jewelry, when you laid the items down, a lot of the time you'd do one shot where you'd laid multiple jewelry together.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to make sure that when you drew those in, because that's what you had to do, you had to draw the items of jewelry onto the layout page so that the photographer knew exactly what shot to produce for you. Okay. Because obviously you'd numbered all these because you had text for description for what the jewelry was. And you obviously had to make sure that jewelry was exactly the right proportion to each other piece of jewelry.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd have to do photocopies and stuff, and you'd have to use your light box in order to get those proportions correct.
I know a lot of artists that would do small thumbnails on using Sharpie pens.
Yeah,
and then take them and copy them, blow them
up on the photocopier and chuck them on your light box. And then you've got the proportion for the page when you go on.
Because your Bristol board's opaque enough that if your copy underneath is dark enough, it'll pop right through. You can just trace right over it.
I used to do that all the time, all that kind of stuff. And now I've got Clip Studio or Photoshop, and basically that's what layers are.
Yep.
It's exactly the same. It's no different. And also going down the library, getting reference and all that kind of stuff. Now you've got the internet. So it's great that you have these tools. It's just important that you don't rely on them for your creativity.
I can get rid of a couple of shelves worth of books here because I don't need that reference material anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've still got the...
Probably haven't used it in about 15 years because all you got to do is pull it up on Bing.
That's right. So it leaves room for on your side. You've got like How to Draw the Marvel Way. You've got stuff that's important like the Eisner, graphic storytelling and all that kind of stuff, which is important to have rather than books and books and books of hands.
Yeah. Well, I use my light table now to hold my book poops.
Oh, right. Nice.
It's got piles of books and papers on it, portfolios and stuff. Yeah.
I've just given myself that much more room.
It'd take me a couple of minutes to clean it off if I ever had to use it.
I can't remember the last time I used my light box, to be honest. It's sitting down here, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. So, before we turn the page again, want to point out the greatness of this last panel and the shadows on Rorschach, just the shadows
and the
back
mood.
Here. just amazing. Yeah, amazing mood. It's beautifully, expertly done. Same thing with the panel above it. Look at that.
Something else
He
I think
starts walking through the doorway
that adds to the consistency and also the flow of the story. Is that we're obviously, we all talk about, you know, those 12 panels that make a comic strip work no matter what,
right?
And switching your angles up and that kind of stuff. There is actually a lot of the same cinematic level of camera angle in a lot of these pages.
Yeah,
and it's done on purpose, because if you go and look at other work that, you know, he's done, you can see he puts all kinds of angles in and all kinds of stuff. But there's a lot of this that is this consistent angle.
Yeah.
So like looking at Rorschach walking up the steps there, and then you switch to him coming through the door. Now, in a lot of places, what you'd do is you'd switch the angle up to just have, so he'd still be walking through the door, but you might be looking maybe at a 3/4 angle, or you might be further down, you know, worm's eye view from the floor, you know, to add the drama and what have you. But this is on purpose. This is definitively on purpose to do this in a particular way.
Again,
and what it
graffiti
does is it builds tension.
Graffiti on the wall of the silhouette of the couple.
Oh God, yeah.
That we ran into earlier.
Meta and the pirate thing as well.
That and the pirate, the pirate flag. This does come into it does figure in towards the end of the story.
Bizarre.
He's dropping these notes already. That you know, you're seeing, just like with the glass eye motif, that'll tie into the nostalgia bottle when we start talking about Silk Spectre.
What's on that last panel there, right by his hand, Rorschach? What is that? It looks like a radio,
a lantern, or radio, or a heater or something.
What those two? Have you seen those two dots over there? Look like eyes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone watching something.
Could be. Who's watching the Watchmen? Let's see how that looks in color. That might drop way back in color. It does a bit.
Is that supposed to be the person that's killed him behind the door as he's walked in?
Isn't that MODOK? You can tell by the point in the ear.
Yeah, no,
Moloch. Sorry, Moloch.
Because
not MODOK, Moloch.
What I'm saying is he's walked through the kitchen door. Okay, so there is space behind that door for someone to stand.
So, or is that like, you know, Dr. Manhattan kind of like
maybe
viewing through time?
There were very round eyes. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Wait, what if it's a shirt or because if you look on the next panel, like the button distance is similar, or like a coat maybe. It is behind a door. Like look at Rorschach on the middle panel on the first page, on the bottom. Look at the space of the buttons, right? And then you go back to the page. Yeah. Could just be a coat, and he's drawing a reference image and draws exactly what he sees.
I don't know. The way they're placed there, they seem very definite.
Yeah. Well, it gives you that eeriness of somebody's looking. Somebody's looking from behind the door.
It is eerie.
Damn.
I'm sure that's a Rorschach blot for surprise too.
It kind of reminds me of the what they call the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
You ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Oh,
where they got C-3PO's leg is in silver the whole film, but nobody remembers it as being silver.
I don't.
Yeah, it's silver. If you go back to the old original Star Wars movies.
Yeah, well, you would now because it's changed. Time's changed it.
No, even in the originals. If you go back to the originals, it's still
because
silver.
If the timeline's changed, the timeline's changed. We're now in a timeline where it was silver, but I saw it in a timeline where it wasn't silver.
Oh, Jesus.
There you
go. I know, because my wife sees the same things. We're swapping timelines together. So there you go.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Existential meltdowns over here.
It's all good.
Worm's eye view here at the last panel. Looking up at Rorschach there.
I'm just trying to see if there's any other hints of somebody behind the door or in the room, or
I'm just flicking around to see the scene where they show Ozymandias killing the sorry, I'm just flicking because that he had a costume on. He wasn't in the Ozymandias costume.
The purple.
Yeah, no, not that bit. No, you carry on. Don't worry. I'm going to flick.
All right. And again, here Higgins.
I think we may be looking too much
the color
into
version with the backlighting.
That's not bad at all.
We may be looking far too
pretty
much.
Effective. Did I skip a page? No. No, there we are. And he's knocking back on them earth tones pretty hard. Let me turn that page while he's looking.
I wonder. No, sorry. Never mind.
Borrow. More fantastic shadows here.
With that whole get up there, like, I know he's Rorschach and he just kind of just puts the mask on, but well, I wonder what made him decide to wear striped pants.
Whatever was handy.
Yeah.
See, to my, we're talking about who is a superhero and who isn't a superhero. I'm just a little confused about Rorschach's mask.
What about
it? Because, well, if they're not superheroes and they're just
vigilantes,
thank you. Mm-hmm. They're just vigilantes. Then how does his mask change shape like that?
It was a special material that the fashion world stumbled across. It works off of body heat. And
did they say that in the book?
Forms different blotches.
I missed that. Okay, fair enough.
I think they showed that. I think that was in this issue, in fact, when he finds that we show him lifting the mask up.
Right.
That it covered that. He ended up
there.
One page previous.
Yeah. One page previous, yeah, go back. The top right. Is that where he's explaining it?
There.
Oh, right, okay. All right. Okay. I completely missed my
because none of them up until Dr. Manhattan are remotely superpowered. Nobody's got any mutant gifts or anything like that. And Manhattan is the one that shifts the universe by surviving the atomic fallout. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have easily just left it unexplainable, but putting it in there actually kind of really solidifies.
No, you can't do that. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to do that. He'd have to come up with some reason for him to have that mask.
Ozymandias is a superhero.
Ozymandias is a heightened human because of his training.
He's the fastest man on the planet.
That's because he's
but he's
worked up
fast.
His reflexes to the ultra degree.
He's super fast, isn't he?
He's not. He's gifted by good genetics, but he's not gifted by ultra humanism.
Right.
So
he hasn't gone through and found. He's found all the ways to naturally enhance his abilities, but he's not a super powered being.
Because in that case, the film definitely changed that. Because in the film, he was a superhero. He was super. He was fast. He was inhumanly fast. He caught a bullet.
He always promoted himself as well. You can still. I know a guy locally here who can catch arrows when they're shot.
No, you can't catch a bullet, and you can't catch a bullet and not have any injury whatsoever.
Does he catch a bullet here?
He catches a bullet in the film.
I'm gonna have to watch the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole point of this story is that Manhattan's the first really superpowered one. And once he is, the whole world shifts and he basically becomes a god.
Oh, there you go. It's actually in the. So sorry, this is for a later episode. Yeah, he caught a bullet. It did hurt his hand, but he did catch a bullet, which is
there you go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. We can have that discussion later. Look, the blacks in these panels. Wow.
Yeah.
It is actually physically possible to do it. You just would hurt your hand very badly. But it
depending
is
upon how
possible.
you caught it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the best.
I won't try.
In my youth, one of the best sequences I remember in the Shadow comic is he's going up against a ninja who throws a throwing star at him, and Shadow grabs a knife and thrusts it up and catches it right in the center hole of the star.
Oh, that's impressive.
Then it shows the panel of the guy of Shadow holding the knife with the star spinning on the blade.
I think there's a story about
as a youth, I remember being incredibly impressed by that.
Yeah, I would be.
There's a story I remember someone saying a long time ago about the U.S. Army changing up their bullet because it didn't have enough stopping power. They were doing some kind of like, I guess, thing, and then the warriors or whatever they're fighting were still coming at them. They're trying to put them down, but the bullets didn't have enough like impact power to take them off their feet. Mm-hmm. Right. So they changed up how they were doing. I really don't remember the specifics, but people were getting shot and still keep on coming towards the soldiers. So then they changed up the methodology of how they were designing the weapons so that they had more stopping power and not just penetration power, but they could actually concussive power. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure. I mean, you could stop a bullet. It's not going to look great afterwards for your hand.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's physically
might
possible.
Sting for a while. It's the smell of burning flesh. Yeah. Anyway. Rarl. Another great sequence of panels.
Again, a really good fight sequence in the film. Takes out a few.
Falls, he's kicked, they grab him, and then they unmask him. And we find out that he's the guy that's been walking around with the end as nigh signs. And again, if you look at that palette, very earth tone.
It's lovely.
Right there. So much of the detail kind of washed out over. And then here at the end, just great.
And just freaking out there. Give it back.
My face, give it back. The hell is he?
What's the quote?
The quote is from William Blake. It says, Tiger, burning bright. Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
In the forest
of the night.
What immortal hand
or
eye could frame thy fearful symmetry?
Yeah.
Symmetry.
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 It's all right. It's poetry. You can get away with that.
It's Blake. Blake was depressive anyway. The follow-up by a man on 15 Dead Men's Chests. Article about the creators of Tales of the Black Freighter, which they attribute to the great Jor Orlando, who we see down here standing in front of an EC logo. Circa 1953.
Really, really, really enjoy stuff from the Ages sale. Anything at all. Pirates is
look at that page. So I presume they made that page just to make it up.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Slightly, actually, a very different inking style.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
That could have been done by Orlando, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the energy in that page.
Yeah. It's like the Captain Blood, Simonson stuff that we saw. It's great. And that, of course, brings us to the end of the.
I saw the last panel. the one you just covered, right?
What?
I saw a 3D model recently because I was looking at zombie hands. I saw a 3D model of nearly an identical pose to that there.
This here?
Yeah, just casually looking through 3D models about zombie hands.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm working with zombies.
It's a relaxed hand.
Yeah. But up to including missing like the bone coming through the finger and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird that like it's one of those things like serendipitous. Like
somebody might have lifted it from there.
Probably. I think I actually saved. No, I saved the art because I wanted to use it as a reference piece.
Yeah.
Let me take a look. One sec. It's here somewhere.
Ooh.
No, I did. Where are you? You guys continue. I'll just quickly look for it.
Well, folks, that was Watchmen 5. There's deeply appreciate you being here and watching. That the chat hasn't been active at all, or we would have gone and read your comments.
There's a whole bunch of people waiting to watch it on replay.
That must be what it is.
That's
what's been happening. Or they're waiting until we're all done with it and they're going to watch it all at once.
Oh, that's longer than the Lord of the Rings.
Binge us, baby, binge us. Yeah, that would be 24 hours. Wow.
Woo! 24 hours of
podcast per issue. That'd be crazy. Yeah. Next week, we'll get halfway through the chapter 6. So.
Wow. Well, I've been getting views on my channel for this stuff. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, not bad views actually. For a little channel, and that's just putting these out on mine. So excellent.
And I found it. Just
marking the page, closing the book.
Oh, Jesus!
For the week, folks. We'll be back next week with chapter 6. You found it?
I did find it. I just
showing it. You're not showing it.
Not yet. One sec. I have no idea who this art is, but I'm going to throw it up in one moment. Start virtual camera.
Anyway, both of these books, I believe, are still available on Amazon. Watchmen Annotated and Watching the Watchmen by Dave Gibbons.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, it is similar. Probably somebody just looked at the comic and decided to copy it.
Yeah. Might have been.
It could also be copycats, through the years, right?
Yeah.
Plus, how many poses can you put a hand?
True, yeah. But like, what stands out is the bone finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird, eh? Like you just.
Oh no! That's not that weird. Considering the businesses, not that weird at all.
It's the right timeline.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
I don't know who the artist is. I couldn't tell you. Whoever you are, well done.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah. We'll call it a homage and call it a day.
Excuse me.
Dust covers. Great.
Doing some work.
So again, we want to thank everybody for watching. Deeply appreciate you being here, even if you're here late or you're watching us later on the Indie Comics Network or Russ's page or over at Randy Zim page over on YouTube. So appreciate you being here. Next week's number 6. If there's other works that you would like to see us cover, make sure you leave us a comment, send us an email or whatever. And we will try our best to get there and cover that in another 7 weeks. All right, Whiskey, tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me right at the Bandnet and Ricochet on Twitter. We do 3D modeling for all your different things. We do commission work, figures, miniatures, so on and so forth. If you're looking for something that you want to get made, maybe even a drawing reference material or like something you can throw into Clip Studio and spin around for a drawing aid, send me a message and I'll try to hook you up.
Cool.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Good thing you didn't hear that last little bit as I was banging around in here. Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, you can have a quick look at what I'm doing at the moment. If you present that screen.
I can do that. Aha. Boom.
This is what's coming. On the YouTube channel, Comic Book Black Belt. So all the things we do here, we mirror over on that channel as well. And all these pages, there's some preview here of like this is half done. This page, that's a spread.
I don't think I've
seen
that before.
You can see that coming together. They'll all be inked, and I think I'm going to document them all on the channel. So come back and visit the channel for that stuff. Okay. You can find me elsewhere on russleach.com. You can find me in the pages of Only Death Can Save Us. You go over to Alternate Comics comic book newsstand, and you can find links to all these there if you want to. It's a great place. If you've got a comic book, stick it up there so that everyone can see it. You can, like I say, you can go to my website and you can pick up the original versions. You've got the crowdfunded versions, or you can go to Amazon and pick up this. The second book 2, will be coming to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. very soon. I think about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm still on sale in Hero Time Presents Batman. It's actually a Batman magazine in Europe now. Okay, so you can pick that up in Germany, Italy, and France, I think, at the moment. Cool. And also, I've just finished a Doctor Who story, 16-page special, which you'll be able to pick up in Doctor Who magazine in the next couple of months. I'm not exactly sure which issue it is, but it's very, very soon. Go over to my Instagram account. You can get there through russleach.com. You can go see a piece of art. I stick up stuff there every day, either archived or new art. And also, if you could sign up to my email list, that would be fantastic. And I can tell you about all the stuff that me and Randy are doing very, very soon. And like I say, come back to my YouTube channel, Comic Book Black Belt, to watch the inking processes on that, and just get everything you need about me at russleach.com.
Absolutely.
It's just a comment now. Good morning.
Good morning, Nine Realms Publishing. Go back and watch the rerun.
Hello, we must be going, Nine Realms Publishing. Nice to see you out there, buddy. Good to know you're here. And hey, folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. We do this every Friday morning at 5 a.m. We're always archived over on Russ's channel, on the Randy Zim YouTube channel, and on the Indie Comics Network page, where you can go in and enjoy. We don't just talk about Watchmen on this program, though we have for the last 5 weeks. We cover a lot of other artists. There's a lot of Simonson over there that we've looked at as well. A little bit of Mobius. No, we haven't looked at Mobius yet, but we will. There's a lot more stuff coming as well. Can't wait to show off some of these great masters that don't get enough notice. Alex Toth, too. Go over there and take a look at those InDesign episodes. Great stuff. You can find my work over at arrowcomics.store, where you can get such books as HeroBot Zero, which is a character I designed and did the majority of the work in the first issue there, about a 3-foot-tall giant robot who fights large monsters and defends his city as long as he can do it on the clock and get time and a half for overtime. Issue 2 is also available over there with a great Scott Rosema cover. Whoever he is, go over there and pick up that book.
Scott says he's going to join us on Sunday.
That's what, you know why he's going to join us on Sunday. We'll talk about that in a second. We're also, you can find Calico Shard over there, which is a fantasy book that C. Michael Lanning did the artwork on. That's all my characters, and a great story. A lot of fun. Deeply love it. Paragon as well, which is a superhero story. Really my version of Superman that I hope you go over and buy a copy of and enjoy. And there's also Revolt over there, which is an anthology book. Russ has the cover for issue 2. That should be available pretty soon if it's not already. All depends on how fast we can get it out of the printer. And Glenn's got a story in the first issue. I've got a story in the first and second issue. And my little monkeys end up being the narrators for the book here, starting with the second issue. So go over there and take a look on that. You can also pop over to fundmycomic.com and be part of the Fool campaign, which ended yesterday, but we opened it back up again for individual sales. There's the cover to that book. That's a guy who dresses up in really crazy outfit, goes around and fights street crime using practical joke weapons like a rubber chicken or a yo-yo or a paddle ball. Then anybody he ties up for the detains for the authorities, he takes a section of their clothing as a trophy and then incorporates it into his action suit. So never has the same suit twice, but he usually always has a tie with a couple of holes cut out of it for a mask. So it's a fun book. The first issue is very self-contained. It's a great introduction to the character, as a couple of detectives are assigned the Fool case in order to get him off the street before he hurts himself or somebody else. So it's a lot of fun. There's the inside front cover in the first page right there as the story kicks off. So, and there's also more stuff coming, and the Fool is available over at Fund My Comic under the Fool campaign. He's also available in a bundle, Arrow Comics bundle number 2, that has Fool number 1, Soul Tack 1, Chrome Dog 1, all of which have their own campaign. Soul Tack, I believe, is fulfilling or has just fulfilled. I can't wait to get that book in my hands. That's a fantastic, fantastic title. Plus the second issues of Revolt, of Hybrids, and HeroBot 02 are all available over there in the Arrow Comics bundle number 2. It's $40 for 6 books. So, okay. And then there's also another bundle number 1, which has 8 number 1 Arrow Comics over there for the low price of $50. So go over there and check those out. Fundmycomics.com. There's a lot of Arrow projects over there, including our first adult-oriented, mature audience-oriented. Let's just say, you don't really have to be mature. You just have to be older. Audience title called AR13L, The Little Mermaid, that is cleared. I think it's 8,500 that they've passed. It's a great fun issue of a little mermaid who's also a mercenary. So, and her companion, just a little crab that has a knife welded onto one of its claws called Sebastian. So go over there and enjoy that. Once you see it, you'll see the quality of the artwork. You'll have to buy in. It's just that easy. We love doing high quality, the best quality comics that we can here at Arrow Comics. You can find us over at arrowcomics.store as well. And coming soon to Fund My Comic, we'll have an Arrow Comics store set up there where you can actually cherry pick what issues you want to buy. And the more you buy, the bigger your discount will be. So as soon as we get that worked out. But right now, Luke's going a little crazy because he's had a lot of notice brought to the site the last couple of weeks. And he's currently being bombarded with questions and campaigns that he's posting. And there's one coming up tomorrow. This is the 2nd. There's one coming up on the 3rd. Oh my goodness. I saw the artwork on it, and
it's going to explode.
It's that Western that you wanted to do, Russ.
Oh, right.
Literally is by Pat Broderick.
Oh, Pat Broderick. Oh, right. Okay.
Only doing by far it's like the Byrne Elsewhere books. You can see the love just coming off of every page, the fine line work and the detail work. They're also going to be offering a $75 artisan version of that that work as well, and we'll be looking at that at a future Comics by Night, maybe a few years from now, after it comes out. And literally the best work that I have ever seen come out of Pat Broderick. Just beautiful material.
Excellent. Because he reminds me of Barry Windsor Smith.
Really? Yeah. I never got that impression off. He's got his own very individual style.
Oh,
I've always enjoyed his work.
There's lots of detail in it. There's lots of little bits and pieces in it. He reminds me of him. So.
Picture that as a Western, and then he's taking all the time in the world to do all the shading and lines.
Fantastic.
Just I was looking at the art going, who is this? This is amazing stuff. Oh my God, it's Pat Broderick. Oh my, definitely the best, in my opinion, the best thing he's ever done.
Brilliant.
And Luke's thinking that'll be their first 6-figure campaign over at Fund My Comic.
Got a lot of fans, quite rightly. You know, he's done some fabulous work in the past. He's got a legacy of work that he's worked for the main two. So, you know, he's a fantastic guy to, you know, and a talent to have.
The entire product
on my comic.
Yeah, the entire product is done by legacy talent, and it's just going to be a big book when it comes out. Bronze Star. So yeah, is the name of it. So you can look for that at Fund My Comics starting tomorrow. Go over there and take a look at the Fool campaign. Buy in. It's a great book. I can't wait for people to read it and enjoy it. Freshly colored by Patrick Gamma, and then after that we'll have this book. Hopefully, will be available as soon as it's in color. Completely in color, also with the interiors colored by Patrick Gamma. The cover is actually colored by Eric Hodson, who does all of the work on the Little Mermaid book.
What a lineup! A lineup!
It's going to be it'll be
Arrow
a great
Comics.
book.
Arrow Comics is coming up with a great lineup.
A lot more. Oh, that's the Shadow book I was telling you about, where he fights
with the ninja.
Yeah, it's a cover for it. We're going to look at that book eventually, because Kaluta's Shadow is just. I think it's just amazing work.
I don't think I've ever been so fired up for it all as I am at the moment. It's I'm so into this project we're doing together. Can't wait to see an Arrow logo on the front of it, and it go out to the readers. It's going
to be crazy.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I can't. Cool. That'll be on Fund My Comic as well. As soon as we're far enough along to be able to post that and promote it. So don't expect it for a little bit, but it'll be.
Yeah, I've got some work to do. Yeah,
we'll let you know. I got a couple other projects we're probably going to campaign before that. In fact, I'm looking forward to, in just a few hours, I'm having breakfast with Susan Van Camp here. We're going to talk a little bit of Aniverse work, if you know what that property is.
Yeah, excellent.
Long time ago in a galaxy far away. Yeah. Absolutely. Folks, we're here Friday mornings at 5 a.m. And we're also here Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. for the Sunday Funny Show. This Sunday, you're going to hear more of what we were just talking about here. We're going to be tooting our own horn. So I'm going to do up a little cartoon of a horn going toot toot. And we'll talk about the stuff that we do, most of which we never talk about on the air. Or we'll get around to covering the stuff we've done in our careers and show some stuff off and let you see that when we're up here talking about comics, we almost know what we're talking about.
Almost.
Anyway, we hope you have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Be careful. Go out and visit your local retailer, because now more than ever, they need your patronage. Go in there, take a look at those boxes that are closest to the floor, because there's so much gold sitting there in those back issues. I can't express to you enough. You're going to find great works like what we cover here on Comics by Night, and then some, because we've only barely scratched the surface. So go over there and visit them. Buy alternative and independent comics, especially ours. Check out comicsnewsstand.com. That Peter Simeti from Alterna Comics is set up to show off some great professional looking independent books that are available now for your purchase. And there's so much to enjoy in this market, and don't let these trolls out there bring you down. A lot of people get overly critical about this art form in this market, and it's easy to be discouraged, and it's easy to think that all that's out there are idiots that want to soapbox or push their political agendas or whatever. But there's some great entertaining comics out there, if not brand new than in the past. Don't be afraid, if you find a comic you love, to tell people about how great these books are. As we're going over Watchmen now, you're seeing this isn't just a funny book. You know, this story is deep. It's incredibly well written. It's well drafted, and it says a lot. It's probably one of the greatest sequential works of sequential art ever. That's why we're going over this issue by issue and looking it over as we go along. Other than that, anybody got anything else to say?
No, that's it. We're done. Yeah. Okay. That was Scott Rosimer there, wasn't it?
That was Scott. Just turned 65. There he is, right there. That's how he feels. He's sleeping right now, but
like a baby.
Like a baby. Remember, folks, Meatball doesn't work that way.
No.
So it's always there. And What?
Can't be handsome. At least he can be handy.
There you go, Red Green. Absolutely. We want to leave today's episode with the immortal words of Mr. Stan Lee. Because when asked if digital comics would replace actual comic books, he said, and I quote, "Comics are like boobs. They look great on a computer, but I'd rather hold one in my hand."
My wife can actually agree with that. She says that's exactly what I do. And for anybody who's offended by that, never mind. Just get a life.
Said, wise up, folks.
Yeah, wise up. Laugh.
Chill out.
That's what life's about. Laugh. Laugh, love, live.
Take care, folks. Love
How's
you
it
all.
done, yeah?
Thanks so much for watching us.
Farewell.
We'll see you soon. This Sunday at 9 a.m. We'll be here for Sunday Funnies as we toot our own horns. And we'll be back here next Friday morning at 5 a.m. Comics by Night so that we can look at more great Watchmen stuff. A couple of bumps and then we'll be on our way. Take care, folks. Buy independent and alternative comics, especially ours. Leave this business in better shape than what you found it. And we'll see you all soon.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with you.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
Oh, I swear that started. Here we go.
Have a question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
Look, everybody's entitled to be an idiot.
Where do they teach you to talk like this? In some Panama City sailor want a hump bar? Or is this getaway day and your last shot at his whiskey? Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.